Today, we unveil the 50 rarest and most extraordinary Minecraft seeds you've ever seen. Get ready to discover cherry groves that you'll fall in love with, structures like you've never seen them before, caves you'll be dying to explore, portals that are ready to jump into, and landscapes you could only dream of. Our epic journey of discovery starts right now. Let's dive in. Starting with the most beautiful bamboo lake ever found. It's the perfect spot for a lakeside town deep in the jungle. This absolutely stunning lake is surrounded entirely by dense bamboo forest and steep jungle hills. There's even a jungle temple for you to hang out in while you plan your builds. While you take a stroll around the water's edge, surrounded by exciting jungle wildlife, the urge to forge a civilization becomes undeniable. Just imagine a treehouse city looking down over the lake. Up next is a seed that combines a soothing overworld with a terrifying underworld. You'll be able to find Minecraft's most peaceful village. It sits in a colourful valley that combines sunflowers, a flower forest, a flowing river, a poppy-filled meadow, and even a cherry grove. But there's more to this village than just looks. Dig down and you'll be able to find an end portal. As well as the end, the village also leads you up into the nether, where you'll spawn inside of a fortress that's right next to a piglin bastion. Here's a seed that will give you the best secret base ever. Take a trip to this insanely deep lake where you'll find a double blacksmith village floating directly above an ocean monument. Being right in the middle of a lake, the monument stretches all the way down to bedrock, and the outpost even reaches extraordinary depths too. Add some windows to this cobble tower, and you've got a fun opportunity for an underwater base. Or simply jump down through the monument entrance where you'll be sucked down into a secret hidden cave. Let's take a trip to a spawn that will take your breath away. As soon as you launch this seed, you are greeted with the most incredible mountain views, towering snowy peaks, mesmerizing valleys, and dense forests all around. But the caves inside the mountains are just as beautiful as the outside. Right at your feet when you spawn, you'll notice a dark opening. Head inside where you'll find a ginormous lush cavern where dense vegetation, aquifers, and cascading waterfalls create an enchanting underworld for you to explore. Carve out your own mystical civilization down here, and even journey down to the ancient city. It's time to feast your eyes on Minecraft's most magical snowy terrain. Right at spawn, you've got a towering tundra where you can embark on an awe-inspiring journey through windswept overhangs and snowy white forests that climb up into the clouds. This untouched natural beauty is just waiting for you to come along and unleash your imagination. Whether it's a frozen waterfall retreat or a snowy lodge with sky bridges, you'll have help from two sets of villagers who also call this natural wonder home. This seed spawns you right in front of a jungle temple that's suffering from nether rot fever as it's been infected by a ruined portal. You'll have to break apart the temple if you want to find the portal, but luckily the loot chest has generated on the outside. What's even luckier is the fact that this crazy structure combo comes with a desert village. You'll have villagers to trade with, open lush pits to explore, and jungle overhangs to build around right at spawn. Here's a seed that will get your mind racing with build ideas. You spawn between Minecraft's two newest wood types, with bamboo and cherry blossom only being separated by a river. You'll have plenty of new resources to gather, and luckily this seed has the perfect location for trying them out. Head into the cherry grove where you'll find a winding pink valley that leads to a flower forest island on a small lake surrounded by steep cherry hills. It's a beautiful building location with an equally beautiful entrance. Are you ready for a Minecraft seed like you've never seen before? This world contains a broken jungle village that gives you rare jungle villagers, houses hidden between waterfalls, and an unbelievable drop down into the planet's core. What's even more unbelievable is what you can find at the top of these waterfalls. Rise up the sky tower and you'll encounter an upside down levitating shipwreck. This is definitely a first. Imagine having this as your sky base and riding down the waterfalls when you're ready to explore. If you're afraid of heights, the next seed might not be for you. It's one of the highest spawns ever found in Minecraft, spawning you all the way up at Y240. Climb even further and you'll find yourself in a wooded badlands high up in the heavens. Standing upon this tree positions you at Y263, the highest point you can possibly reach in the game. From here you can take in the incredible views of the surrounding mountains and far off desert. It's gonna take some brave Minecraft mountaineers to try this one out. Take a trip to Minecraft's most epic mountain cliffs and you won't be disappointed. This incredible coastal landscape brings you never-ending mountain valleys that are begging to be adventured, an inviting lush cave that you need to explore, and a cliffside village that rises from the ocean up to the cliff tops. Head into the cliff's caves and you'll discover a spacious lush cave to build in, an abandoned mineshaft to restore, and even an ancient city to loot and conquer. Here's a seed that spawns you just down the hill from a super rare village. Not only is the village abandoned, but it's also generated inside both an ice spikes biome and a cherry grove. There's even an exposed spider dungeon under the frozen part of the village. Take a look around and you'll see that there's plenty more to explore. There are some unique places to build, some mushroom fields close by, and a huge wide open plain full of villages. If you're down for a long Trails and Tales expedition, this seed provides the ultimate destination. Who wouldn't walk over 2,500 blocks for a meadow as beautiful as this? The white speckled field matches perfectly with the sharp snowy peaks above, and the varying forest types within the crater give a nice choice of wood types. Take some time to stand on the edge of this masterpiece and just imagine the creations that you could fill this place with. What would you build inside of here? Check out this incredible seed that combines a desert village with eroded badlands and an abandoned mineshaft. Railway tracks run through the village and even some of the houses. This could be a good opportunity to set up a thriving gold mining community. Around the village you can find loads of amazing loot from the mineshaft and loads of ways to gain XP. There's a ton of cave spider spawners, and if you head down this long tunnel, you can even find an exposed skeleton dungeon. And don't forget the fossil you can find inside of the mineshaft too. This seed has everything you need for a quick and easy speedrun. Well, almost everything. You spawn in a peaceful village on the coast where you can spot an ocean monument and some trail ruins. Once you've brushed up enough treasure and looted the village, head on through this ruin portal where you'll spawn right on the top of a bridge bastion and only a jump away from a blaze spawner. The last thing we need is an end portal. Dig down under the village to find the stronghold, but unfortunately the trail ruins have overridden the portal. I guess this spawn was too good to be true after all. If you want some never-before-seen structure combos, this spawn doesn't disappoint. You start your adventure on a nice little village island with a giant ruin portal. Not sure the nether will be as good as the last one we saw, but the overworld here is really interesting. Right next to the village, you can find an ocean outpost that's combined with a shipwreck. I think it's safe to say these pillagers never went to boating school. In the opposite direction, you'll come across a huge ice spikes biome with one of the tiniest cherry grove biomes. Up next is an island continent that contains an incredibly diverse range of biomes. This huge island is a patchwork quilt of Minecraft's brilliance. Embrace the cold biomes to the west of the island and the warmth of all the hottest biomes to the east. At the heart of it all, you'll find grassy plains, dense forests, and the delicate beauty of the cherry grove. There's even a mushroom field to the north and a jungle island to the south. There's so many structures too. Challenge yourself to bridge the gap between biomes with harmonious builds, or maintain distinct zones that celebrate the island's diversity. Check out this village that climbs up a windswept savanna on the edge of a mangrove swamp. It's actually the perfect village for farming XP, thanks to it to having not one, but two exposed dungeons. Having two open dungeons this close together inside of a village is incredibly rare. Trade with villagers, gather loot from the mobs, and then head through the mangrove where you can take on some witches and even enter the nether. Now it's time for a seed that spawns you next to a brand new never-before-seen structure. It's a basement igloo and a ruined portal that have merged to create something extraordinary. The igloo's ladders have been chopped in half by the portal. Luckily, the igloo's basement is still entirely accessible with a bit of digging. Quickly gather resources from the loot chests and venture into the nether, or maybe head through the windswept forest and embark on a snowy adventure. Holy shit! Is that a church in a boat? We've seen loads of shipwrecks attached to other structures, but don't think there's ever been a structure actually inside of a shipwreck as perfectly as this. It looks like these villagers are worshipping the floating blocks of dirt above the village, and they're going to embark on a missionary voyage across the ocean to spread the word of their religion to the jungle and badlands on the other side. This seed spawns you right next to an amazing quintuple blacksmith village inside of a cherry tree mountain circle. Unfortunately, the village comes with some dangers, which makes sense due to how much loot there is. There's an outpost on the edge of the mountains where pillagers are plotting their next move, and directly under the village you can find an ancient city with a huge lava lake and a mineshaft. But first, check out this breathtaking spawn where you'll embark on a journey through the very heavens of Minecraft's terrain. Max height mountains in all directions, from insanely steep badland slopes to deep, dense bamboo valleys and even some sharp, stony peaks. You can't help but be inspired by the towering presence of these ginormous creations. Each peak gives you a different perspective of this incredible spawn, and there are so many paths for you to explore. Just looking for a chill plain spawn with a village? You won't get better than this one, as you actually spawn right in the center between 4 villages that form a perfect square. Build your base right in the middle and then slowly fill the square to create one big city on this wide open plain. Or maybe this could be a fun seed for 4 friends where each person could become mayor of their own town right at spawn. Check out this seed that spawns you high up on the jagged peaks of an epic snowy mountain. With pristine blankets of snow, waterfall-filled forest valleys, and stunning snow-covered peaks, this spawn is truly a frozen masterpiece. But there's 3 amazing caves in this seed that you need to explore too. There's a ginormous lush cavern with a lava lake, a deep dripstone cave exposed to the surface, and this insane hollow mountain that gives you easy access to an ancient city. Whether you're above or below ground in this seed, your inspiration juices will definitely be flowing. Up next is a unique survival island that is half badlands and half plains. Right in the center of the island is a village that touches both biomes. It's not often that you're able to find a wooded badlands village, so to have this on an island is pretty cool. You'll also find yourself surrounded by mushroom fields, coral reef, and endless ocean. Plus, the island even has a tiny patch of jungle and a ready-made gold mine. This seed spawns you on the roof of a woodland mansion, and that's not even the best thing about this seed. Run across the roof and you'll find a meadow village attached to the mansion. The 2 structures meet at the entrance of a cave, resulting in some interesting generation. Hop down the hole next to this house and you'll enter a magical, lush underworld full of waterfalls, dense vegetation, and floating lava lakes. The ruined portal next to the mansion even positions you right next to a fortress. This seed just keeps getting better. 25 seeds down, 25 to go. Stick around for cherry hearts, unbelievable villages, and even an already completed end portal. From a mansion at spawn to a mansion in totally the wrong biome. In this seed, the mansion finds itself buried under crazy bamboo terrain, and there's even a desert village right next to it too. Connecting the village to the mansion is a lazy jungle river that could act as a great secret entrance to your new home. This mansion has another secret too. Head through the gap by the mansion's roof and you'll be able to find an exposed spider dungeon. Also, you might need some shears because the inside of the mansion is getting a bit overgrown. It's time to check out one of the craziest villages you'll ever set your eyes on. You spawn on the edge of a jungle river valley, which contains a jungle village outpost and temple combination like you've never seen before. The temple has generated almost entirely inside of the outpost's cobblestone support, allowing only the wooden beams to extend down into the houses below. The village also comes with cozy waterfall caves, exposed aquifers, and directly below the village, you can even find an ancient mine shaft. Let's calm things down a bit with a beautiful spawn that positions you high up on a daisy-covered meadow. The plateau gives you picturesque views of the surrounding forest rivers, and there's even some trail ruins ready for you to excavate. Head down the slopes and this seed gets even more chill, with a small forest island surrounded by a river. There's a village here too, but the villagers have been kind enough to leave the island just for you. Think you're brave enough to take on a double ancient city mega cave? Head through the Badlands Mountains near spawn and you'll enter a realm full of fiery fury and forgotten civilization. With a lush ceiling and lava floor, this incredibly spacious cavern glows from all angles. Head right down to the bottom where you'll spot not 1 but 2 ancient cities. With mending books now having a high chance of generating an ancient cities, this could be a great seed for making sure all your gear lasts forever. Who's down for a Don't Leave the Jungle challenge? This seed has a huge, dense mangrove swamp that contains a few small, sparse jungle islands. Pick one of the jungle patches and try to limit yourself to survive there without leaving. If you touch any part of the mangrove, it's game over. Maybe you could even craft some bamboo bridges to reach the other jungle islands safely. Here's a seed that spawns you on a savanna village island, surrounded by endless ocean and mushroom fields. What sets this village island apart is what lies beneath. Once you've fully transformed this survival island, you've got a whole new island to explore. Follow the waterfalls down into a sizable and spacious cavern, perfect for storing materials for your island, hiding your most valuable treasures, or even crafting your underground base. This seed spawns you in a meadow village with a pillager outpost. Climb up the steep meadow hill and you'll find a partially buried woodland mansion in a dark oak crater waiting for you on the other side. This spawn has some really fun terrain. This dripstone cave acts like the perfect secret entrance to the mansion from the outside meadow wall. There's also a really weird dungeon which has a layer of dripstone surrounding the spawner. We've never seen this happen before. This seed spawns you in one of the craziest Badland villages ever found. The village has generated on a steep Badlands cliff, where the highest house and lowest house are vertically separated by over 70 blocks. It's gonna be a hard one to navigate, but it might be a fun challenge to somehow reconnect the village and let this camel climb its way to safety. Or, if you prefer to hang out with these villagers down the bottom, there's a cool cove down here that could be an interesting spot for a base. Here's a seed with an underground realm like no other. It's a lush underground jungle with vibrant grass covering the cave's floor. It's a fun and challenging survival experience below the surface. When was the last time you had a cave with bamboo, melons, and jungle zombie villagers? You'll never find a better cave to build a thriving underground jungle colony. Venture deeper into the earth and you'll stumble upon a breathtaking lush cavern filled with aquifers. This could be home to your dazzling underground oasis. It's time to spawn on Minecraft's most epic structure-filled island. It's got a woodland mansion, a pillager outpost, a village, and even a ruined portal, all on the same spawn island. You even spawn right at the top of the mansion, making this one extra special. With each of these structures containing loot chests, you could find yourself a very rich player before you even step off the island. All you need to do is take care of the pillagers, and this could be the perfect spawn. Looking for a multi-biome spawn seed that's perfect for a long-term survival adventure? Look no further than this seed. You begin your journey surrounded by dense forest of every kind that separates all the warm biomes from the cold. In the center of the map, you can set up camp on a frozen peak mountain where you'll have the perfect vantage point for watching over all your biomes. Are you ready to embark on a tale of survival, exploration, and creativity that spans the entire spectrum of Minecraft? This next seed has such a beautiful spawn for building. You start next to a small snowy hill surrounded by flowers. Build your base at the top, and you've got an epic view of the surrounding cherry mountains. Head on over the sharp frozen peaks and you'll find not one but two large cherry blossom craters. Rise up even higher, and you'll see that the cherry trees surround the entire mountain range. It's the ultimate cherry mountain spawn. This seed has a plains village that bridges the gap between two flower forests. But there's something underneath this village that makes it truly remarkable. Dig down and you'll enter a stronghold with not just one but two fully functioning end portals. What are the odds of that? What makes this one even rarer is the fact that the end portals are directly on top of each other, so they're super easy to find. From one rare stronghold seed to another, this village sits next to a dripstone ravine where part of the stronghold is exposed to the surface, something that's very uncommon in 1.20. Grab your shovels and pickaxes and get ready to dig out the rest of the stronghold. With enough effort, this is what you'll end up with. Your very own open-air stronghold. This fun excavation project will allow you to be able to jump from the village all the way into the end dimension. This seed has some really unique biome generation at spawn. It's the longest and thinnest stretch of cherry grove that anyone has ever seen. Have you ever seen a biome shaped like this before? The delicate petals and vibrant colors stretch as far as the eye can see, creating a spawn landscape that is far from ordinary. We're dying to know what kind of creations this biome's able to inspire. What could you imagine building along this thin strip of cherry blossom? You'll find even greater building potential in this next seed where you spawn in this gigantic double mountain dome. Each dome provides unique building potential within this enormous enclosed mountain realm. One has a lake with towering frozen peak views, and the other has a separate smaller mountain where you could build a castle surrounded by the outer mountains. You could even settle in this igloo right in the middle while you plan your builds. Here's another double end portal seed, but this one's even better because they can be found below a cozy little island village. Dig down below this house to find the first end portal, and then if you're up for the challenge of completing a second portal, you can find the other one just a short swim away. Or if dragon fights aren't your thing, you could always just get toasty next to this island's campfires and pretend the portals aren't there. This seed spawns you in a cherry grove, but you need to head towards the desert because there's another incredible village calling your name. This one has a pillager outpost, a desert temple, and villager houses all combined into one Megazord-like fusion. But the structure fusions don't stop there. Dig directly below this chaotic cluster and you'll find a mineshaft entangled with a stronghold. Imagine you're just casually looting a mineshaft and you walk into an end portal room. Up next, step into a world with an even crazier combination of rare structures. There's a woodland mansion and a pillager outpost that have taken over a once beautiful, peaceful meadow village. This spawn already seems exciting, but there's so much more to this seed. The real treasure lies in the abundance of XP-laden dungeons awaiting your exploration. There's a spider dungeon behind one of the houses, a double zombie dungeon directly underneath spawn, and even a quadruple dungeon that includes 2 skeleton and 2 zombie spawners. Here's a unique seed that would be perfect for 3 friends or a large build with 3 separate locations. The meadow contains a never-before-seen occurrence of 3 craters that are perfectly aligned one after another, and it's just a bonus that they're surrounded by cherry trees. The terrain offers a fun opportunity to tunnel through the hills so that you can reach each crater in no time at all. The middle crater even has an exposed mine shaft, and there's also a village nearby at a multi-river junction, which is also pretty cool. Time for another ultimate survival world. This seed has every overworld biome in the game within plus or minus 1,360 blocks around spawn. If variety is what you're looking for, you won't find much better than this. You start in a flower forest with plenty of villages, cherry groves, flat plains and even mushroom fields just off the coast. A short adventure to your left will take you through the jungle, desert and wooded badlands, while a journey to your right will lead you to a vast winter wonderland. We've seen lots of crazy stronghold seeds in this list, but this one has to be the best. You'll find the stronghold in question below this really beautifully located village. It's surrounded by cherry trees, ice spikes, snowy slopes, and open ocean. Dig deep below this one, and you'll be excited to find out that the end portal has already been completed for you. 12 eyes already filled in. The life of a Minecrafter has never been easier. This seed spawns you next to a gorgeous cherry grove mountain range, a cherry blossom village, and a small flower forest river island that would be perfect for building on. Once you've explored spawn, head up through the mountains to find something incredible. It's an 8-structure combination nestled into a meadow mountain crater. Above ground, you've got an outpost, a village, an igloo, and a ruin portal. And there's even an exposed zombie dungeon close to the surface too. Head down under and you can find an ancient city, a mineshaft, and a stronghold. That's 8 structures at roughly the same coordinates. Imagine a Minecraft world where nature itself expresses the language of love. What are the odds of finding a randomly generated Minecraft biome perfectly shaped as a love heart? And imagine if that biome was also the closest matching color. This cherry grove biome offers a symbol of affection that transcends both pixels and reality. What would you build in this enchanting heart-shaped biome? Welcome to the craziest village ever found. This unbelievable chunk of steep frozen terrain is home to a village, a fully exposed basement igloo, and a pillager outpost right at the top. Have you ever seen an igloo as exposed as this one before? It even goes right through one of the houses. The pillagers are claiming this house and the igloo as their own, but there are plenty of houses down the bottom that are yours to save. This definitely goes down as the most mind-boggling frozen island of all time. Let us know which was your favourite in the comments and what kind of seeds you'd love to see next. There's loads more to be explored, so if you'd like to continue your seed search, click on the next video.